Welcome to another episode of Mick and the Fat Man, where we are talking artists, albums, and everything music. Well, welcome everybody to another exciting episode of Mick and the Fat Man Series 4, episode number 8. And Mick, as you can see, I still have everything in the introduction, and I know you love my use of the English language, creative use of the English language, in fact.
Now, I think it's wonderful, and I think it's important that we mention it at the beginning of every show, that you have only a tenuous grasp of the English language.
Tenuous is a generous term for my grasp of the English language. Mick, welcome.
Thank you, sir. You've already introduced me, so that's a little bit late. But
well, we could have started again, you see, so that's why I did it. Well, look, I'll edit it out. We'll work it out.
We'll take it out in post. Excellent work.
Post is so forgiving.
Yes, it's a wonderful thing, mate. I'm just fine.
Mick,
looking forward to today. We've got something different for everybody.
Well, Mick, why don't you tell us exactly what we do have for today?
Mate, we've got something special. We've got Jarrah McCleary, who is the band Panama.
What, just by himself?
Just by himself.
He's a genius.
It's a bit like Robert Smith and The Cure.
Is he the only Cure?
He's
the only one left
He's
alive?
The Cure, yeah.
And I wonder if Jarrah's band members all died of old age, because a lot of the people we listen to,
or overdoses.
They are dying.
One or the other.
Yeah.
If they don't overdose in the first 10 years, then they get to old age.
Yeah.
And then they're on a pension and can't afford drugs.
Yeah. Do you know Eric Carmen died recently?
Who?
Eric Carmen.
Oh, no.
I know.
What about the rest of the raspberries?
Oh, I don't know. I thought he was in the strawberries. Some sort of fruit.
Not when I got a
berry
full of tea, Jeffrey, please.
Some sort of berry.
Yeah, well, that's what we're going to do.
We'll get into another day. We'll do dead people in the next show, I think.
They're a lot easier to interview.
Anyway, do go on, sir.
Yeah, we've got Jarrah, who is Panama, and he is our first ever live in the studio interview. So this should be a lot of fun, and I think there's opportunities for you to take into even stranger places than our podcast goes.
And as you know, the Mick and the Fat Man studio isn't exactly what one would call spacious. So we're only just fitting in here. There's just the three of us and 2 dogs.
Woof!
It's very useful. Look, before we get to Panama, I thought we might just have a small bit of rock news that I just popped up somewhere. I don't really remember exactly where it popped up. But you know how we always like to have a Rod Stewart reference in every one of our shows for whatever reason. Very handy, as you do. Well, I found an interesting Rod Stewart reference for this show, and it's basically called Rod Stewart's Balls.
In 1990, Patricia Boughton filed a lawsuit against Rod Stewart, alleging that she sustained injuries stemming from the singer's antics during a 1989 appearance at the Pine Knob Music Theater near Detroit. According to Boughton's lawsuit, she was left permanently disfigured when Stewart, continuing a popular tradition at his concerts, kicked a soccer ball into the crowd that hit the middle finger of her left hand. Boughton's distress was shared by her husband Stephen, who added his own claim of loss of companionship to the lawsuit, telling reporters that after the injury, it was very difficult for the couple to get into sexual activity. As he put it, if she hit that hand on something, it was all over. The Boughtons, who ended up divorcing, ultimately settled for a $17,000 judgment, less than the $75,000 they were originally seeking, and certainly not enough to convince Stewart to stop kicking balls into his concert crowds. He continued the act for decades, despite facing legal action from a number of fans, including one who said he had difficulty hanging on to his job after having his little finger snapped by the reckless and stupid incident, and another who claimed one of Stewart's balls broke his nose.
I'm not going there about the broken nose, mate.
That poor chick, every time she wants to give her lovely husband a quick handy, she has to go to fucking hospital afterwards.
That's right. And she has difficulty driving.
Poor thing.
How can she indicate when?
Oh, darling, can we have a quickie? Oh no, darling, my finger's broken.
There's so many ways you can elaborate on that we're not going to.
I know, it's just...
Because we'd have to put an arse certificate on the podcast. X certificate.
It's just...
And if we put an X certificate, everyone would think Elon Musk was on it.
It's just bizarre. Anyway, so thank you to Roddy Stewart's balls. I don't know whether he's still doing it or not, but I'd like... Well, is he still touring? He probably is. With his...
Well, with the strained fruit and the the thickened fluids, yeah, he would be. Yeah, a nurse on call.
This is one of the things that we have, everybody, is that as the artists that we used to listen to get older and older and older, they do require a certain amount of care if they go on the road, such as wheelchair access to the stage, thickened fluids because their gag response isn't that good anymore, and sort of pureed food, brown blob of meat, a white blob of potato, and a red blob of carrot. And they just sort of eat it with a straw pretty much. Anyway, that's life. And by the way, if you're enjoying this podcast, do make sure you share it with your friends. We have a lot of fun doing them, but we don't get anything out of it. We don't make any money, and so we would like to see a few more people listening to it. I know this one's going to actually really boost the numbers because we have an international multi-instrumentalist with us today. So
Yes.
That'll make a massive difference. So I am going to move straight to Mr. Panama, and I'm going to read you the blurb that he has on his Spotify page, which I don't know who wrote it, but I do love it. Panama is a singer, a songwriter, producer, and multi-instrumentalist. A highly collaborative artist, his work has now amassed over 500 million global collective streams. Panama has the rare ability to blend both live and electronic sounds into his music. It's a skill that allows him to paint every element in his songs, from the moment he first sits down at the piano to the final touches in the studio. Through this, he has developed a distinctive sound, blending raw, emotional songwriting with lush, synth-heavy production. Jarrah, welcome. How are you, mate?
It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Is that you that I've just read about?
Yeah, it's well, sort of.
Did you write it?
No, there was like a professional biographer that actually does that for like a living, I suppose. Like it's one of the things that, yeah.
Maybe we could get that person to write our scripts. That sounds a lot better than the crap we do.
I know. I'm just sort of thinking, Jarrah's a neighbour of mine, and I didn't realise I had such an amazing person living close by.
I like to be, what's the word, inconspicuous and not sort of like, I think moving up to Blackheath was like that, like moving out of Sydney and coming up to sort of, be away from what is, the sheer, how do I describe this? But being out of the way of what would normally be a stereotypical thing to do as a musician. Usually musicians would, go to Los Angeles or go to New York. Or
you're kind of in LA, aren't you?
Kind of retreated into like the other way, hermitude, right?
Welcome to. Well, maybe we could be the hills of LA. Do you think?
That'd be pretty cool.
That's where we are. We're in the hills. I
like it.
Yeah, there's nothing here, but it's sort of. I
the,
feel that
the bush is here.
The bush is here. We've had good fires. We've had good floods. Really good fires. Were you here the first year you moved here? You would have had big fires, wouldn't you?
Yeah, 2019 was like eye-opening for me.
It was for me.
There was like fires coming up on the what you call them, like the
up the valleys,
up the corridors. Oh yeah, coming up the actual
the side of the
valley.
house.
It was insane.
It was. It was noisy too. A lot of helicopters and a lot of fire engines.
It was around Christmas time, and I remember like it was like keep your windows shut because the smoke would come in and get up like your throat.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, oh, it's just as a singer, it's quite challenging. It's like trying to sing, and it's like, oh, I can't. Like I feel like my throat's burning. So
should have got you an oxygen tank.
Well, speaking of oxygen tanks, just when a long time ago, when I was, I'd played the Big Day Out a few times. This was a previous band at the time, a rock band, and it was the Big Day Out in Sydney. I was sort of backstage, so this is after performing and stuff like that. So there's like an exclusive back area back when the Big Day Out was really was happening. yeah, and it was like everyone wanted to get in. It's like this is a place you want to be. So And then I ended up getting in, and it was like I'd played. This is my third time, so I'd never had access to the full thing. I finally got access to like the main place. So I remember getting in and going, "Oh, I can't believe I just got in." Anyway, so I'm like backstage. I saw some friends of mine who were also on. Well, they were touring, and they were like, they saw me and they were like, "Jarrah, like, what are you doing here? Like, you're not supposed to be back here." And I'm like, it's okay, guys. I've got a pass. So they're like, because like it was so exclusive. Like they were like, you can't be back here, man. I was like, no, it's cool. So anyway, I'm backstage, and then there's this band playing. They were a rock band. They were a British rock band. I'm trying to remember their name. They got like the Shoot the Runner song. Shoot the Runner, shoot. Anyway, it's not coming to me, but they're very big at that stage. A very big British rock band. Anyway, so I'm backstage watching them. And I'm like, this is cool. This is like, cause it's great watching a band backstage because you kind of see like the band doing their thing, like right on the same sort of level, not down lower. Anyway, the singer's like running around like a just crazy dude, and then like he runs kind of backstage to where I was, and then I just like I look at him, and he goes, and I'm like looking, and I'm like, what is he doing? And I looked to my manager was with me backstage, and she's like, oh, he's got an oxygen tank. I'm like, he's got an oxygen tank. She's like, yeah. Like, so he's like running around, and when he's had a bit much, he's like, he goes to the oxygen tank and just, then he's back on stage again.
Geez, Everest.
Just incredible. I couldn't believe it. Like, it was obviously a thing. Like, that's what it was. It was a really hot day, and remember the big day out in Sydney. It's full of concrete, so it's just like super hot and no shade. So I suspect maybe he's an Englishman. He's probably just struggling with.
Oh yeah, he wouldn't understand warm.
Yeah, that's my story about that.
Well, we've just done an episode on tour demands and riders, and it was amazing how many of the bands ask for oxygen.
Is that right?
Yeah,
it is a thing.
Yeah, Aussie, obviously.
Yeah. I need to do that. I need to get an oxygen tank up there. It'd be awesome.
Yes, get in the riders. So you need M&Ms. Which colour don't you have?
You've got to take is it the brown ones out?
The brown ones out.
Yeah.
That was who was that? Did that?
That was Van Halen.
Van Halen. Yeah, take the brown ones out.
Fantastic. I was going to say also back on the exclusive area of the big day out.
Yes.
Another year that I didn't get into previously because I wasn't popular enough or successful enough. My friend from another band was like, I'm going to get in, Jarrah. I'm going to get in.
Name names. Don't say another band. Give us some scoop here.
I don't want to because it's like it's bad behavior. So I don't want to just
okay.
But anyway, it was in Perth, this one. And I was like, and he's like, I'm getting in this year, Jarrah. I don't care what I do. And I'm like, all right, man. And so he got into an esky. And then they brought him. They shut the lid and they brought him in. Like we're just bringing in drinks, man. And then they just he got in. He got in. I think it was like those back days. In those days, it was like Living End was a really big band. The Living End was one of them. It probably was like John Butler, that kind of era of things. So it would have been like early the mid thousands, I think, at that stage. So
And you still had the band of Panama back in those days?
No. So Panama didn't come about till like 10 years ago, about that. So I was fooling around playing in like indie rock bands at that stage, just doing stupid stuff.
As a multi-instrumentalist, which instrument were you multiing in?
What back then?
Yeah,
mainly singing, like just as a lead vocalist. And mainly just strutting around.
Were
on
you
stage.
singing in a way that would ruin your voice for future live?
Yeah, pretty much. Like I think, I think at the stage, like it was like the Strokes were really big. So the New York thing was happening. And rock was coming back. So you had like, not that I was trying to be anything like them, but Wolf Mother were very popular.
Yeah.
And then back in those days, I think like electronic music was having a resurgence with Cut Copy and bands like that. So it was an interesting time because at that stage, back then it was like dance music in Australia and also rock music and kind of trying to fuse them together. Like New York was doing similar things with, trying to think, LCD Sound System.
Oh, yeah.
So almost like punk music and dance music. That was you called it like, in the British you had like Britain you had like the Klaxons as well.
Yeah.
So I mean at the time with that rock band I was in, that's no more. We had
what was it called? Just out of
the
interest?
Dirty Secrets. Anyway, our connection to that time was the Klaxons, which was a really big band in Britain.
Yeah.
We got the same engineer to come over to Australia and work on our record.
Okay.
And that kind of set things off on Triple J. And then we kind of took off from there and then ended up doing a lot of things, which was great at that time.
What were the sandwiches like in the exclusive back part?
Yeah, I want to drill deeper into this this multi-tiered backstage access thing.
Yeah. I can tell you that no sandwiches were consumed because there was a full-on bar there, and it was like you can have like top shelf rums. At that stage, I don't really drink anymore, but back in those days, I was into like really expensive rums, like so much so. Go back to another time. I remember playing up a place up. I think it must have been like, wasn't Soul Bar, but it was like that's a really popular place to play for musicians still today. But I remember they were inviting us up to Soul Bar, and they were like, "You've got to come up for that." And then we came up, and we ended up drinking them out of house and home for all the rums that were up there. So we kind of never got invited back since. But when I got to this big day out VIP section, I was like, "What do you mean? Like all the rums I can drink?" And it was top shelf rum, so I just. It was on. It was and it was like it was like famous musicians would serve you. It was like
Really?
What?
yeah. So it's like because it's just all musicians. So and the musicians just take over. So they'll just be like they just get in the bar behind and stuff. Then because it's kind of like egalitarian. I mean everyone just hangs out with everyone, right? So
Yeah, right.
you could be hanging out with some famous, really high tier, whatever, but you don't even know. Like you're just totally drunk out of your mind. And you're just having D&Ms with this dude who's probably in this massive, but it's fine, because that's what happens. You know what I mean?
Was another interesting thing about that sort of thing is we talked about tour demands riders that a lot of bands insisted that there shall be no grog until after we play. How did that go in what you're talking about there? Did people drink whenever they wanted, or
if you're like of that high level, you do what you want, you get what you want. There's no rules.
Oh, cool.
There's absolutely no rules.
That's a bit like our podcast.
It's kind of there is one rule. Get closer to the microphone. That's the only rule we have.
This one? Is that better?
And the other one that we have to give to Mick is he can't do this all the time.
I can't tap.
But the tapping has a certain rhythmic quality to it.
It does, and it's very annoying. But he does do it a lot.
That's fine.
Can we talk about music now?
Yeah, sure. But I thought I'm more interested in was there a big pile of cocaine in the middle of it as well?
What in
In the back party room.
Apparently, like, I didn't know too much about that stuff. Like, I just saw the bars, but, like, I had heard stories that usually they do, like, deliveries.
Oh, that's handy, yeah.
So, like, they come in with, like, I don't know, I assume, like, an envelope or something.
Yeah.
That kind of, it was totally up for it.
So, delivery for Jarrah. Yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah, good.
Because of, like, the sheer money that was probably being, like, made in those things, like, anything was pretty much possible as far as when you're at that level, what you want, I suppose. I mean, at that stage, I was, quite a young man. So I was quite like wide-eyed and like, I was just stunned. It's all changed now though. So it's all for, it has changed.
Well, it kind of has to be because everybody's going broke.
But like, I think
all the big festivals are not doing very tough at the moment.
But like, I think like the way that the music industry works is different to what it was. Like before it was like, when I was much, much younger, and it was more of a like, how do I describe this? More like party kind of vibes. Like the record labels would be like, well, I assume that they'd be like, we like you, come to the back cubicle and we'll talk, and we'll do some stuff
in the back cubicle.
Yeah. And because it's another story of another friend of mine, and they were going to get signed by quite a big label. I won't say who they are, but anyway, that was the invitation. And my friend was like, "Yeah, we didn't end up signing with them because we didn't find them very professional." So they ended up becoming independent, and actually they've signed with Ninja Tune now, which is a really reputable big. I guess it's a really nice label, but they were independent for a long time. But anyway, that's the way that it was. Like that kind of party thing was what they did. Where these days, it's more tech. It's like tech vibes, which is great. Just completely unrock and roll, I suppose. Which is good. I think in some ways, because. I don't know. I feel like there's more longevity involved, perhaps, because it's not so much about just being super vibey and being loose.
But was there more money in music back in those days? Do you think? Because I think back. You think back to when we were young. People would sell a record. They were selling a record for like $20 to $25 for a record, and that's just not a thing anymore.
Yeah, now they sell it for 0.000123 cents per download.
There's a lot of money to be made, especially as an independent artist. The old-fashioned like major label deals, you can't really make any money out of that unless you're paid like a massive advance. So it's a massive advance for, I guess, the audience that's listening. It's like it's like an interest-free loan. So it's like, we'll give you money now, and then you have like very low percentage in royalties and returns. So you just take the advance. And for an artist, you're probably like, yeah, if you're really hungry and you need the money, you'll be like, I'll take the money because, I need to feed my family or whatever.
But you also pay for your own touring and all that sort of stuff. It all comes off your tab.
That's right. So a really good story is like, the band Jet.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they were out for dinner one time. I think they were still. This is a story I was told from my my music business like teacher, like at the time when I was learning about like music business. So it was a good story. And he was like, "Yeah, Jarrah, like these guys were out for dinner, blah 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 blah, and then they were sitting at a table having like this food, celebrating something, and then somehow the band had heard a rumor that maybe this was being paid for by them." So they asked the label, they're like, "Hey, is this true? Like, are we paying for this?" They're like, yeah. So and they're like, let me get this right. So we're celebrating something like maybe a gold record or a platinum record for sales. You're taking us out for dinner, and it's actually us paying for it. And they're like, yeah. We're like, okay, we don't want to order anything more. Like, we're done. Like, that's, you know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of stuff. Like, and, with majors, it's a funny kind of game. I'm not big on majors. I'm not signed to a major myself. I am signed to a record label, obviously. But in the deals that they make in this day and age, like if you're signed to a label, 50-50 deal is considered a pretty like normal deal.
Yeah.
And then there's even more newer artists on the scene, like Gen Z types, and a lot of them are independent or on even more favorable splits. And you still have some of the newer artists that are maybe need the money and want to get big quickly, then they would go on a major little label deal. But those are they're quite, I call them like evil situations, like it's not particularly artist friendly.
So let's just go back in time a little bit, mate. Way back. How many grams and ounces were you born? What was your birth weight? No. Tell us about how you got started in music.
Cool. Like in the music industry or like just music in general?
Just in general to start with.
Yeah.
Whatever you prefer.
Yeah, cool. So I just like started by like, I think I was like in primary school. I was like 6 or 7. And then like the music teacher obviously picked up something about me. It was like, hey, this guy's got something going on. And then told my parents. And then they were like, yeah, okay, we'll probably get him some lessons or something. So I started like getting some lessons, like classical lessons.
Yeah, right.
In like at that stage, just piano. Started doing that and started doing really well, like doing competitions and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
At that stage, so like, he can be like a concert pianist, like, and stuff like that. Because I was getting, like, I go to Stedfords and win things. And, one of the ones was some, like, best in the state or something. For
okay.
And then South Australia as well. So that it's just, I don't know. That was the thing at the time.
Oh, okay.
And then as I kind of got older, I was like, I don't really like playing other people's music. And I started like just making my own songs.
Really?
Yeah. So I just started making things up.
Yeah,
like
that fucking Johann Sebastian Bach. What would he fucking know? Dick.
Yeah, but it's totally different to like, I think like to play something that you interpret is very different to what sort of coming up with something that comes from yourself.
Yeah, right.
I just really enjoyed that feeling of like creating. Like it was very cathartic.
So you were creating on the piano?
At that stage, yeah, that was the only thing I knew because that's what I was trained in.
Yeah.
So the singing didn't come till a lot later, actually.
And were you writing lyrics and playing them and all that sort of stuff?
No lyrics at that stage because I wasn't singing.
Yeah.
I was just making it up in my head and then just remembering.
Doing an Elton John sort of thing?
Without the because he just does the music, he doesn't do the lyrics. Yeah, but he would sing. I wouldn't even sing. It was just purely instrumental and purely on the spot. It was like improvisation.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And then some of the improvisation music that I would write I just remember it and I could just bring it back. Like I could just play it again another time.
And did you then sort of get into the garage band type scene and all that sort of stuff when you were younger?
You mean like playing in rock bands?
Yeah, just amateur rock bands and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Practicing in your mum's bedroom and stuff.
Yeah, I got into like so
I don't know.
Practicing what in your mum's bedroom, Jeffrey?
Trying on her underwear. I don't know.
I think when I was like 16 in high school, I was still doing piano and stuff, but then this like new kid came to school and he played like guitar, and I'd always wanted to play guitar, but I was just like the piano was what I was like, that was what I was trained to do, and no one was giving me an instrument. Then as soon as I turned 16, I got like a guitar from my father, because my dad owned like a pawn store. I mean, like Pawn.
Yeah, it's important the spelling there.
That's it. And he gave me this. I got it I think I got it for Christmas for my birthday. I can't remember, but it was like a white Stratocaster, like Fender Stratocaster.
What,
like
a real one?
Yep.
Serious?
Yep. Yeah, Japanese version. Oh, yeah. And he's like, this guy from his band came in, like, and he's dropped his guitar off, but he never came back. And but he said, "Don't worry, I'll be back because we're gonna have a big hit one day." And I was like, "Who was this guy, Dad?" Like, because we lived in Darwin in the Territory. It's where I grew up. And he's like, "Do you know it's like the guy? I think it's like the guy from Yothu Yindi, man." I'm like, "Yothu Yindi?" He said, "That hit probably would have been Treaty, Dad." And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "So I've got like one of the guys from Yothu, because a lot of people played at Yothu Yindi at the time, but it would have been like the guitarist, I suppose."
There's about 30 people in the band on stage.
But obviously he must have needed some cash or something, because my dad, as a pawn store, he would lend money.
Yeah.
Like a money lender. The guy dropped off the guitar. Obviously never, the guitar stayed unless the money comes back. So I ended up with a guitar. Sweet. And now I've got this really, really cool story, because like...
Do you still have the guitar?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I kept it.
Really?
Yeah. It's one of the only instruments I've kept, because it's just so sentimental. It's like my first guitar, so it's like
wow.
I've always held on to it.
That's exciting.
Yeah. I think it's like, I also like tried to find the history of the guitar, like when it was made. Like I had a music teacher in high school at the time, and I was like, "Can you find out like what this guitar is?" I know nothing about it. He's like, "It's a Japanese." He's like, "It's made in like 83 or 84, maybe 83." So, I mean, it wouldn't be worth a lot of money. I don't care about that anyway, but it's just good to know like the history of it. And I swear, like every guitar I've tried since just doesn't sound to me like, it just has a certain sound to it. Maybe it's because that was my first guitar, but it just feels like it's a part of me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got a friend who refurbishes guitars. We should get it tuned up for you.
I've had it tuned, but not for a long time. So
he gets onto the frets, and he gets the action like going beautiful, and revitalises the whatever it is he does. He does all sorts of stuff.
He does indeed. Yes.
He calls it the guitar spa. So you can take your guitar for a nice spa.
I like it. It sounds good, because it does have some like the actual like the way that I'm not a guitar. I mean, I am a guitar player. I picked it up when I was 16, 17, but I picked up piano when I was much younger, like 6 or something. So I never really ever saw myself as a guitar player, even though I do play guitar. And like I see like the frets on the board though, and it's really interesting. Like they do, as you go down, I never thought of it, because like a piano, everything just kind of is equal. But when you go on the guitar, like it does, as it gets older, it kind of, as you change the frets, it doesn't quite equal the notes that you're playing.
It needs a spa.
Yeah. There you go.
So aside from Yothu Yindi, by accident,
yeah,
who else were you listening to as a teenager?
Cool. Yeah. So as a teenager, like in my like rebellion years,
the rebellion years.
I had to rebel against.
That's a good album title.
I had to rebel against all the classical training and stuff, I suppose. And also, so I was just like, at that time it was, I found my dad's like record collection. He wouldn't let me touch his vinyl, so I can only touch his CD collection. So this would have been like, let me think, like early 90s, mid 90s.
Mm.
So I was like, sweet, I'll get into that. So that was like compact discs, and he had like a lot of like Sabbath.
Oh, really?
I found Sabbath. That was amazing. That was such a good find. In fact, I think my dad showed me Sabbath on vinyl before I'd found the compact discs. He showed like the Bloody Sabbath. Oh no, it was the very first record, the black one.
Black Sabbath, yeah.
With like the wicked like bell sound. Like dung.
Yeah, that was the first one.
And that just, I saw the black cover and I was like, that is so badass. Like, oh, how do I like get involved with that? Like, it's like an exclusive club or something. Like, it was like, what's the word? It just looked like witchery or something. It was just so badass. So I was into Sabbath, and I just liked the guitarist playing as well, Iommi. When I found out that he lost a couple of fingers from like his workplace or whatever, and that's why he played the way that he did, I was like, that's super cool. Like, I just...
Did you get an insatiable desire to cut a couple of fingers off?
No.
Bit of body modification?
No. No, but it was like, I don't know. I just found like, I liked it. They were like they sounded tough, and the working background tough as well. It just really appealed to me. I don't know why, but it just felt real and authentic, even though I make nothing like that music now. At the time, I just liked it. They were like, just kind of like, just real, like, tough dudes. It just made sense.
They're still great for getting stories out of, we did a story last show, I think, where Tommy Iommi used to set fire to the drummer.
Bill.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Literally.
That's amazing.
Pour lighter fluid over him, set fire to him.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
For party tricks, as a party trick.
Wow. I know that,
like more than once, not just the once.
I know, like, with like Ozzy, like I've read a book about Ozzy and like Motley Crue, and like Motley Crue were they're like a hair metal band, not really my vibe, but there's some good stories in there. But in the book, like Motley were on tour, and basically they were out at like a pool or something on like a day off, and basically like it was like they were supporting Ozzy, I think, obviously. So Ozzy was there at the pool, and then like Motley Crue were doing something, like they're doing like dares, like who can do like the biggest dare and like do the loosest thing. And I'm not sure exactly what Motley did. It might have been like, I don't know, just get blind drunk or something, or like, do something silly. But like Ozzy's like, oh yeah, I'll one up you. I do remember. I think Motley like just snorted some drugs or something. It's like, okay. And then anyway, so Ozzy's next turn, and he's like, okay, and he like goes to snort, but he doesn't snort the drugs. He snorts a big line of ants.
I've heard that story. Awful.
Like, I'm like, goodness gracious.
He is a complete and utter lunatic.
It's funny that you should talk about that you were into Black Sabbath as a teenager, because before he had his standard black guitar, Tony Iommi started out with a white Stratocaster.
Oh, wow. That's so cool.
Hello.
Oh, I love it. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was. We're going to talk about that when a couple of episodes coming up. We've got Jethro Tull.
Cool.
Tony Iommi was in Jethro Tull for 2 weeks.
Is that right?
Playing a white guitar.
Wow, I love it. Now I love my white guitar even more.
All right, we're going to get it. We're going to get it a spa. I think.
I think so. Yeah,
I think it needs a spa.
Do you want me to continue on my journey of like?
Yeah. So we've had. Yeah. So as a teenager, you got Black Sabbath. What else? Anything?
Yeah. Zeppelin
cool.
was like amazing.
Yes,
so I discovered Zeppelin. Obviously, like the Stairway to Heaven like record was just blew my mind. Like just that like at the time anyway, I just loved how it had different like movements and stuff. I guess it was like looking back, kind of proggy.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
So I mean, the first time I discovered something that was a bit more proggy.
Did you go and see The Song Remains the Same, the movie, at the movie theatre?
Oh, that's the one done by the director. Is that the famous director guy?
I can't remember who directed it, but it had
a live concert.
It was a
film,
live
exactly.
concert.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, I've got to show it to you.
Yeah.
It's got their fantasies in it. We used to go, yeah, we saw it quite a few times. Really, really stoned most of the time.
We'll edit that out later.
We were.
Awesome. Yeah.
Bit of Zeppelin, excellent news. Love it.
Yep.
Love it.
So besides Zeppelin and Sabbath, trying to think. Oh yeah, of course. So Metallica was very big as well.
Yeah.
Now this guy that came, who I like ended up playing in a band with, he came from like Alice Springs. So this is back when Alice Springs already had a few problems. Even like this would have been like late 90s. So he would come up from Alice Springs, and he was like a really tall guy, like 6'4" or something. I'm like almost 6'3". So we were these giants in school, And anyway, yeah, we just and then he showed me like this book of like Metallica, and I was like, "What is this?" Like, and it's like I've never seen it before, but it's like a book of tabs. So like it's like tablature. Tablature is like it's kind of like music that you can read, but for like just exclusively like guitarists and stuff.
Oh yeah, okay.
So it's like fret 12, fret 8, da da da.
Yeah, I know. Yep.
And it just had the artwork of all like the Metallica stuff. So I was like, this is incredible. And then he got me into that, like just all that all that music. And it was just, yeah, I'd never really experienced anything like it coming from. Oh, it was interesting though, because a lot of the albums of Metallica at that time were classically inspired.
Really?
And then coming from a classical background, I was like, what's going on here? Like, these guys are doing like metal, but they're doing like the classical stuff as well, like in there as well. So like the musicianship was really quite advanced. So, and also really enough, really dexterous playing, and being a teenager, it's something you get drawn to because
you love a guitar hero, don't you?
Back in those days, it's a rarity in this day and age though.
You don't need to be.
Well, yeah, it's like, well, yeah, that too. I think like times seem to have like moved from like the virtuoso into like more like the, I don't know, like this. I would like to say the songwriting realm, but I don't know. I think the 70s is probably the time for that too. So
the 70s was all about 70s and 80s, I guess. Really there was a whole thing about the rock band. The band had a guitarist, usually a very good guitarist, a great drummer, fantastic rhythm, which was our rhythm section, a loud singer, and a guitarist who, the rhythm section would keep things going. The guitarist would scream a bit. The singer would scream, and the guitarist would have really long solos, and it was great.
Yeah. Well, even like I feel like Fleetwood Mac is a really good example. Like they were like what I understand, like a blues band, and then once they sort of moved and evolved into what they're famously today, like the songwriting kind of changed as well.
Yes,
it kind of went into like more like less solo-y, into like, this is a really, really cool song. Like this has its parts, and like, I mean, I think of like Tango on the Night, that record. It's like, I think like that's like one of their masterpieces anyway. I know they've got some fantastic albums before that too, that some people, I mean, my partner prefers the earlier stuff, but Tango on the Night for me was just one of those fantastic records that's like, it just has all these delicate parts that work together like a jigsaw piece. And I think maybe further back, the guitar solos were more of a thing. Maybe even the blues thing kind of brought it on and stuff, and that kind of went for a journey that way.
I mean, the fact that they're still alive and playing music is a testament to I don't know, to longevity. Probably drinking baby's blood, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Do you heat that? Or do you drink it cold?
I don't know.
Well, as you say, Lindsey Buckingham, like it's a dramatic change for Fleetwood Mac from the time to the time Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks. Well, Stevie Nicks tagged along, funnily enough, with Lindsey Buckingham, who was the musician. He's a bit like you. He's a bit of a multi-instrumentalist, inspired by everything. Walks around and gets inspired by something. and they changed dramatically to a much cleaner songwriting style.
Yeah. Like that actual album, I keep coming back to it, but like that Tango on the Night to me is a real moment. Like I remember discovering it for the first time. I came into it later in life. I didn't grow up listening to it. I heard bits on the radio and stuff over time, but I'd never really gotten into it really deep. And then I remember once I kind of connected, these songs all come from this place. I was like, I really went in deep to like understand like the recording progress, like the process of it, like the way it was, sort of produced, because it was self-produced, I believe. Like there was some outside help, but mainly I think produced by the main guy. Is it like
Mick Fleetwood and John McVeigh?
I don't think it's Mick Fleetwood. He's like the...
No, he was their cocaine deliverer.
I was going to say, he was the dealer.
But and I think the band, from what I read about it, they did not like the way that it was put together, because it was, in those days, it was all about, like in the 80s, a lot of what they call like isolation sort of recordings.
Yeah.
So a lot of the bands that would play fantastic, like they think, we get our best songs done as a band. And that's probably true. But there's something I just love about those isolated recordings. For me, I think because I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the perfectionist in me or something, but I can see all the jigsaw pieces coming together, like the way it's put together, where like, you know, a live recording for me isn't really that interesting, where I'd find more, I guess it's more of a studio perspective. I like that kind of recording more.
Well, that's interesting because one of the things I was going to ask you is how much do you prepare in advance versus you know, sort of rely on happenstance in the studio? You know, like you've got bands like Steely Dan who've got every single note for every single song prepared, and then you get you two who just go into the studio.
Yeah, absolutely. As a band, you're saying? Like they do a live performance.
and allow it to happen.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like, as in my creative process is kind of, it's interesting. Like, I keep thinking of, I've had the perspective of the band as well, like doing the live recording thing with a band. I've done that. But my perspective with Panama is completely different. So that's more like going into the studio and basically, how do I describe this? It's more like working, there's nothing pre-prepared. So you go in and then basically whatever happens on the day happens on the day. What I tend to do is basically, a good example is maybe vocals. So with vocals, what I would do is I would record and then I'll just do a take and I'll just record like, I'll just sing and not know what I'm singing. This will be over like a bunch of chords, right? So the chords are already down. I've got like the chords are there. Sweet. So, and maybe I'll have a click track, but then basically I'll just sing whatever comes into my mind. And then I'll just do like 4 or 5 takes like that, like just, you know, 1 and then 2, 3 and 4. And then basically then I'll stop. I'll like then listen back and I'll be like, oh, I really like the sound of that there and the sound of that there. I mean, these will just sound like noises to people. Like they're not like, it's not proper English words or anything. It's just straight up noises. But it sounds pleasant or it sounds like the right feeling. And then once that happens and it's all come down, as in I've got like the whole 3.5 or 4 minute or whatever it is, 5 minutes, whatever it is long, is all filled with the ideas that I want. Then comes the next part, which is like finessing the recording. And that's when I go, okay, I need to put on a different cap or what I call like a different part of my brain. So I'm going from like the creative part into more like, I need to make English words out of these like melodies that I've recorded. So usually what I'll do is I'll procrastinate for a week.
Always works.
Yeah, because I'll be like, yeah, sweet. That sounds good. Because I love being creative, but I do not like the binary thinking for me because it feels like work. So what I have to do to convince myself to get into the studio to finish the song generally is, you know what? I say to myself, you know what? I'm just going to go in there and just play around a bit. So what I do is I go in and I just start jamming to my song. Like I'll just play piano or play some guitar, get myself a bit loose so I'm not like just constricted to like, oh, I need to do this. And eventually my mind sort of comes into like, oh, now I feel like I'm ready to do that. And then when I'm like ready to do that, then basically I start basically working the song in chunks. So I'll be like, okay, look, I can't do like the 4-minute song today. I'm not up for that. But what I will do, I'll do that 15-second chunk today and I'll like make that 15-second chunk amazing. So I'll work in chunks. So I'll be like, I'm going to do those 15, I'm going to do that verse today. That first verse I'm going to do today, I'm going to turn that into English words. And I'll spend the whole day, like, you know, like creatively could be 4 to 6 hours, just like basically just trying my best to make it sound just as good as what it was with the, you know, with the words that didn't really have an English sounding sort of sound to them, if that makes sense. So yeah, I just spend and it's just a really monotonous job and you really have to be in the zone to do it. I think it takes probably someone that, you know, is wired to do that. It's I don't know many people that do it the way that I do it, but it works for me and it gets the thing done. But, you know, how do I describe this? Usually someone who records vocals does it in a day. Well, I'll probably spend sometimes a week recording vocals, maybe longer. Like I spend a long time, and that's probably why, you know, it works for me. And but you know, it's just one of those things. It's like it just takes a long time. I'm not a particularly great singer, but I know what when I hear it, what sounds right, and usually what sounds right is it works. Like, how do I describe this? Sometimes I have like recordings that are just like, that just sounds right. And at the end of the day, when I've like done the actual real words, sometimes that producer I've worked with goes, I actually just like the version that's just like doesn't really have any English words to it. I just like the sounds.
Yep.
And it's like, yeah, let's just keep that.
I got a sense in listening to your stuff that I could actually feel that what you're saying is exactly right. And a couple of things, your voice, you actually put it down in the mix on quite a lot of occasions.
Yep.
And I got a sense of Bowie's wordless vocals around the time of his mid-70s stuff from Heroes and Low, and some of, I could actually hear what you're saying there about, this isn't English. This is just phrases that fit with the rhythm and the beat.
Yeah, it's like primal, right? Like it's like a thing. Like some people like want to hear really like, what do you call it? Like sibilant, like the sibilants and like the words and stuff. I've always been one of those people that listens to the music for the music. Like I don't listen and hear people's words. I just hear the sound of it, and if it sounds right, I just like it. I don't really care. I mean, I do care about the lyrics that I write, absolutely. But what is also very important, equally as important, is maybe even more so, is how it makes me feel. Like
Mick's right into the lyrics. He knows the lyrics of every song he's ever listened to, which is really annoying sometimes. What I can do for you, though, Jarrah, you probably haven't thought about this, but I've been using ChatGPT to write lyrics for us. And I'm just thinking, I've got one here that I did the other day, and I'll see if you can work this into one of your songs. I'm happy for you to use this. Oh, we're running to stand still in this world that won't stand still, but we'll rise above it all with hope that never falls. It's pretty deep, isn't it?
it's kind of general, but
That's the advantage in putting the vocals right down in the mix.
The ChatGPT comes up. I've got a lot of songs that I've done with ChatGPT and Suno, and the lyrics are all very, very mediocre, and I think you could probably use them.
it's a tough one. Like, depends on the person that you are, like the way that you're wired. Like some people enjoyed like songwriters like say Leonard Cohen or something, like the kind of, yep, absolutely. Like poetry, it's beautiful. Where like, other people, if I try and do something that's really complicated, it just doesn't seem to work for me. Like it sounds like I'm trying to be complicated, where like it's more authentic for me to be uncomplicated, if that makes sense. So the words sometimes aren't really so much important as the sound.
Yes,
that it is. But that doesn't mean that someone who has that beautiful poetry and it's natural for them isn't also a justified medium for them. It works.
Yeah, sure.
And I always admire the people that can do that. It's incredible. I mean, even Nick Cave, I suppose. Nick Cave is like it's full of metaphors, and it's beautiful, emotive music as well. So yeah, you can. It's just any way you want to roll, really.
Yeah, because he has a sort of a notebook that he just, if something comes into his head, he just writes it down, so he can come back to it later and sort of go, oh yeah, that's interesting, and use that in songs and things like that.
Yeah, a few people do that. Brian Eno does the same. Yeah, with lyrics and musical phrases and things like that. Ask it.
Can we just touch a little bit on your live career? Where was the first place you ever performed live?
Do you mean like
as in a paid type gig?
A paid gig?
Yeah,
like a pub stuff?
Yeah, anywhere.
Nothing fancy yet. Just cutting your teeth.
When you actually sort of thought, okay, I think this is where I'm going to be for the rest of my life.
Yeah, absolutely. I just turned 18, so like I could just get into pubs, so I was very excited. And at this stage, I just moved like down to Southwest Australia, because it was just my family. It was time to move, and basically there was this really popular pub in the town called the Prince of Wales, and it was just like really like just always vibey. Like at that stage, Triple J was really popular.
Yeah, right.
And it was part of like the circuit, so people would play all over Australia, and then they'd go to Perth, then they'd come to Southwest WA, and Prince of Wales was like one of the main places. And so I was like, I didn't think anything of it. I'm like, it's nice seeing bands there. I've just turned 18, And I remember I was like playing in a music store, just doing my thing. Like just at that stage, I was still just improvising. And like one of the guys who worked at the music store was like, Jarrah, like, what's this? Like, this is really cool. Do you want to like, you know, like do a band thing? And he was already in a really successful band in that town.
Yeah.
He knew everybody who worked in the
that
music store in that town. So I was like, cool. Anyway, so we ended up doing this thing at the Prince of Wales. It was on like a Wednesday night, but at that point, it wasn't, you know, it was pretty quiet. And it was like an improvisational comedy band, believe it or not. And so
No, I don't believe
we'd get up for like 3 hours or 4 hours, and someone from the audience would call out like a subject, and we would come up with the song on the spot.
Serious?
Yeah. It's great. And it was my job as the, like, I guess at that stage, the piano player, was like to just come up with the music on the spot. So that was my job. We had a singer, obviously. He would come up with the lyrics.
Seriously?
So it'd be like, you know, Natasha Stockton Spoyer. We had like a song that was just dedicated to her. Like, yeah. We did like a Christmas album and everything. It was crazy.
That's insane.
And just all like just made up on the spot. And then some of those songs became like regulars, but we'd play every Wednesday. And I'll tell you what, we started, there was like maybe 5 people there. We were like selling that place out. We're doing like Wednesdays, and it was like, this pub was like maybe 350 cap. We were 350 capping that place on Wednesdays. It was like,
Really?
The publican was loving us. He was like, he'd order us pizzas, like after the show, like, come best mates. Our singer actually moved into the pub for a while. He was like, I'm just going to stay upstairs, man. This is a good vibe. I'm like, fair enough. That's when I realized, I was like, because I was getting paid and that's all I had to do for the week. I was like,
Wow.
this is the most amazing job. Like, you know, playing to a full house at the pub on a Wednesday night.
Wow.
And it was wicked. I just loved it.
That's insane.
Awesome.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly. It was. And then we started touring after that too. So that's when we started just going around WA and just playing these shows in these different places. And I was like, I just loved it, eh? Like just going out to these like places. And Western Australia is such a like a vast open place.
Oh, no.
Southwest is super green and just beachy. Up north is interesting. Like, just pretty dry up there.
I know.
But
Wherever you are, it's filled with sand.
but it was just awesome, like just getting out there and connecting with people, and just having fun. Just basically just being stupid and getting paid to do it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was great.
That's
Yeah, it was definitely, I'm so glad, you know.
Good grounding too, though, wasn't it? Yeah, sort of. You just had to make music.
Well, it just was just a natural process. And I remember like looking up at the walls, and I said to the publican, because I was like, there's like walls up there, and it would have like a T-shirt, and then it was like framed in like glass. And it was like, at that stage, it was like popular like Perth bands like Jebediah and like Little Birdie and Sleepy Jackson, who's now in Empire of the Sun. And I remember looking up at the wall and telling the publican, I'm going to have my shirt up on that wall one day. And like, cause it's all signed by the band and stuff. Like, cause it was like, usually what they would do is they'd have them up there when you'd like sold out the night or whatever.
Yeah.
And that, to me, that was like success at the time. It was like, I'm going to do that one day.
Did you get your name on the wall?
No.
Oh no.
Well, only because I'd moved over to Sydney and started Panama, obviously. And that's taken off in a different way, you know, as far as.
So you came to Sydney and started Panama.
Yeah.
So what year would that have been, do you think?
Yeah, I came over in 2009.
Okay.
Just drove over the Nullarbor on my own,
Yeah.
like in my car, and it was like, I'm gonna just pursue this music thing, like
Just-
on the East Coast.
Few keyboards,
Yeah.
Yeah.
All my white Strat.
the Strat.
Yeah. I was just like, it was time to go. Like, actually, my band came, but they came at different times, so I went on my own just for an adventure. I just wanted to do it.
Where did you go to when you got to Sydney?
Ah, awesome. So there was this like promoter, really good story. I've got to be careful the way I tell the story though, because
Sure.
it's, actually I can tell it.
Doesn't really matter.
So yeah, this promoter, like I ended up like staying at like his place for a while.
All right.
Anyway, so I was staying there with my bass player and basically like I was sleeping on his couch, and it was really awesome. I was like really, really appreciative. And we kept getting these knocks on the door, like 2 a.m, like 3 a.m. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, why are people like knocking on your door, man? And I didn't realize that I'd made a connection, but like later on I was like, I think like maybe a few years down the track, I was like, oh, this guy's a drug dealer. So like, so super nice guy though. Like loved him, and he was a beautiful person. Still
Well,
is.
the success in business is all about people skills.
So like, he's just drug dealer as well. That's fine. I mean, we didn't see any of it at that time, though. Interestingly enough, so obviously did his job well.
He did a good job.
He did a very good job. So that's kind of how I ended up where I was, and that's at that stage. I was staying in Bondi.
And were you? Oh, you're in Bondi, of course you were.
Of course I was.
And did you start gigging in Sydney then?
Yeah, so we had like a booking agency called Harbour, which were a really big booking agency.
Yeah, I remember
but to be honest, like they were kind of a massive corporation vibe, and I don't know. I feel like they're on the other side of it, where like they weren't what they were. So like we would do stuff, and it was cool, but I don't know. I felt like for us, the momentum was kind of lost. We were actually quite a big band in WA. That when we moved over to Sydney, it was like starting again, which is always the case for WA bands at that stage, and that was fine. But then, and I think that at that stage also, like the Triple J airplay was a real thing. Like you had to have that.
Yeah.
And we had a really really good sort of like run with what we had, and then we kind of moved to Sydney, and then the radio play dropped off. So it was just like, oh shit, we'd moved here, and it just didn't work out, unfortunately, for that band at that stage. But saying that, it was so awesome coming over. But tell you what, the touring circuit was a lot stronger in WA than it was. I actually moved over because I thought the touring would be a lot better in New South Wales, but it just didn't have that same kind of...
The arse had kind of dropped out of it by then, I think, in Sydney.
I think so. Like, I don't know what it was. I was expecting, because it's like a bigger population, that it would be like pumping. But WA, it's still got a pretty decent touring. I don't do that run or anything. But it was really healthy when I left, and I just assumed that was like the rest of Australia was going to be the same kind of vibe. But no, I don't know what it was, why it isn't like that over here. But yeah.
So when did you actually get a airplay on Triple J?
Okay. Yeah, so airplay came like around 2008, I think, for that band. Oh, do you mean for Panama or that rock band?
Just when you first started getting airplay.
Yeah, so 2008, I think. Yeah. It did make a difference. Like, you could see it back in those days.
And that's when you did Big Day Out with that band?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So I did it before that as well, and then when the airplay came, more came from it, which is really cool.
But then Panama came about.
So with Panama that came about. I think my band was just like, we don't want to do. Some of them were stayed, and some of them went at that stage. Yeah.
So when did you kick off Panama?
Yeah, I think that was like 2011 was probably like the proper kickoff.
Yeah, right.
And that's when like I was getting some play on the radio at that stage on Triple J again, and then like I reached out from a record label, Future Classic, which I'm still with now.
Okay.
And that was really cool. So like I'm glad, because it was on like a thing called SoundCloud, I think it was.
Oh, SoundCloud, yeah, I remember.
Yeah, and I'm so glad, because I think I might have missed the message actually. Like I didn't check, and then I don't know how, but then I ended up replying somehow. I think maybe my partner was like, "You should probably get back to that." I'm glad I did, because I had a lot. Weirdly enough, I never really checked a lot of messages. I was just pretty scattered in those days. Not that I was like inebriated or anything, but I just had, my mind just hadn't fully formed into like
it hadn't gone from scattered to bizarre.
I was just not an organized person. I'm still not super organized these days, but I'm a lot better than I was.
So Panama as a band, how many were in the original band?
Yeah. So even though like, I wrote all the music and, recorded.
And did all the work.
Well, I had some musicians I worked with, session musicians in the US as well.
Okay.
That were from, some quite, name bands at that time. So that was nice. But then I had to perform it in Australia. So yeah, I had like some band members that performed the songs in Australia.
And when did you, because you went overseas at some point as Panama as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I went to like South by Southwest, and then after that sort of kicked off, because South by Southwest is usually like what happens with that is that a band would get signed or something, and they usually go to South by Southwest, and they basically sort of like, it's like almost like, I guess you would call it like advertising or something. Like, it's like, hey, we're signed, here we are now, sort of like presenting it all. It's just a good way to like, it's strange because you would think that South by Southwest would be more like a place that you'll go to get signed.
Yeah.
But after going there, I was already signed. I realized that that's not necessarily the case. So, but yeah, South by Southwest was one of them. And then after that came like some, cool shit, like with the European festivals and like some American shows and stuff. That was the really, I'm not sure if that was the first. Yeah, maybe that was. Yeah, that trip, I was just thinking about it now. That was like crazy. It was like from like starting in New York, going all the way through America, like playing like all the towns that would like be like playing his songs on radio, working through the middle of America, and then getting all the way down to LA. And so you're like driving, like we're a whole band just like driving in like a van the entire time. So it was like hectic. And then we finished in LA, and then we basically flew from there to Europe. And that's when it got really crazy, because then it was like, okay, you're playing festivals and you're playing a different festival in a different country each day. So you would like play the festival. And I remember we played a festival called Sonorama in Spain. So we played there. And I was like, this is crazy. This is a festival. Because I was so excited to do something like that in Europe for the first time. It's like a dream. And then I think I met the guys from Cut Copy, which are a really big Australian dance act. They were booked by the same bookers there. And then we basically got on got on the bus, whatever you call it, the van, and then went back to and I went to the airport. We couldn't get to the accommodation, didn't have enough time. And so we just slept at the airport in Madrid. And then, I didn't even think we slept. We just kind of talked and kind of dozed. And then we went from there across to, I think we went to, Portugal. Did a festival in Portugal the next day. And then we did another festival after that. The reason why I'm getting to this next point is a quite interesting story, because it was also booked like, different countries. We didn't have any margin for error. What I mean by that is like, what if you like someone on the flight, doesn't pack your guitar case or like a keyboard case. So I traveled around one of these things for my keyboard, basically because the power changes when you go from Europe to America. So I had to like have different parts ready for different countries. And so I remember getting into this really big festival in the Netherlands called like Lowlands Festival. Absolutely huge. It's like, it's a huge festival. Goes for days. Anyway, so we got into the airport, and I think we played about 2 or 3 festivals before that. And so we were all just spent, like just totally fatigued. We hadn't slept. We'd been in Madrid airport, and it was just all chaos. We were on adrenaline. We'd been in the States, you're just in a van driving for, doing a show, driving for 16 hours vibes. So it was crazy. Anyway, so we get to the airport at like Lowlands Festival, and then basically we get picked up by this taxi guy. He's going to take us to the festival. So I'm already like freaking out because I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like something's going to go wrong. But I'm like, okay, we're going. We've got everything that we need. Double check, blah, blah, blah. Get into this taxi. Guy takes us out to like the festival. I'm like, we get there and I'm looking at like the euros that go up in like the taxi, because I'm just like paying this guy. It's like 330 euros
Jesus.
on like the thing,
Yeah.
because we didn't have time to hire a car. We had to get in. We just had to go. So this guy's driving and probably loving his job because he's getting a lot of money, euros. I'm like freaking out because I'm seeing it, and I'm a poor muso at this stage. Like I was funding this tour, and I'm like, oh my god, it's just driving me crazy. Anyway, money aside, we get to what I thought was the festival, and I rock up, and I'm like, man, I said, everyone's packing up. I said, like, this can't be the festival. He's like, no, blah, 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 blah. He's trying to tell me, and I'm like, no, man, this isn't the festival. And so I tell him the address again. He goes, oh, no, you mean that festival. So
Fuck.
I'm like, we were already like, we're pretty low on time. So we got back into the van, and he's like, okay, I'll take you to the festival. I'm like, man, we're not going to make it, man. I said, like, look at the time. And he's like, oh no, we'll make it right on time. We got in the car and we went, and I was just chewing my nails. Like, I was like, we're not going to make this, man. My band's like, but we're all just like freaking out. And then I'm getting like a call from like the promoter, like saying, "Where are you? Like, where are you? You're supposed to be on the stage." Da 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 da. I'm like, "I know, man. We're coming. We're coming." So the promoter's like, "Okay, I know what we're gonna do." He's like, rather than like just coming into like the main part, he's like, "No, you're gonna load straight into the back of the tent, like the big stage, straight into the back, and no sound check for you. Just get up there and go. Like just play." So like we come like, like we're just charging in like the van. The security guards open up the gate. We're like, we'll ride through, get onto the stage. I'm like, my heart's pumping. We're just like, we can't do a line check or a sound check. We're just straight up playing. So like I'm plugging everything in, just hoping things are going to work because you're just praying. And then like I go to play and the first thing I do is I hit the first like chord on like the keyboard. No sound comes out. And I'm like, oh, I look at my keyboard like there's no power coming out of it. And then I'm like, oh shit. And I look and I quickly open the top of my keyboard up and I'm like, okay, I need to do something really quickly. And I pull out like a fuse, like a little fuse, and I replace the fuse in the keyboard and put it in. And the sound guy's like, "I bet you're glad you brought those." And I'm like, yeah, because if I didn't have a fuse of all things, if I didn't have that fuse, we wouldn't be playing that day. Like that was like one of those things, like a critical error. Like I had it in my bag. So like just a fuse was the thing. But when I put it in and we played the show and it was just a packed tent, it was like thousands of people in this tent. But no one knows the story, how close we came to like just like a little fuse.
Did they like you?
Yeah. Well, I suppose so. Yeah, it was good. They invited us back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We ended up playing another festival because we played that festival, that was for another trip. But yeah, so more festivals came from it. And then I could tell you another story, but I don't want to keep going on. So
you got all these festivals. Is there a difference in the audience at various festivals, and do you have to tailor, or did you tailor your stuff for those audiences?
Absolutely. So like the biggest change up is the United States has a completely different vibe to the way that Europe takes things on, and the UK especially as well. Like, so US is like, they're up for more like, they just like having fun. Like they just want to party. So you can be like, kind of like, just like, yeah, let's just have some fun. Like you don't have to be pretentious. You can just be straight up. Where like a place like the UK can be a bit more tougher. Like they're a bit more of like, they'll take the piss out of you if you don't tick the boxes for them. They can be pretty.
Wow.
Is that right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. And Europe is different again, depending on the country. I quite like Europe. I really, that's my favorite place to tour, Europe. I think because the festivals are just really well run. They look after you. Like, sounds strange, but the catering's really nice.
Hello.
He's the man to talk to about catering.
They love the catering.
Catering is really nice when you've been on the road and you want to have something really nice to eat.
Yeah.
Like if you're in the middle of America, it's very hard to find good quality food. Like to the point where my partner, she's like, every time we go to the States, Jarrah, she's like, all you end up having is a muffin and an apple for the whole day. And I'm almost 6'3". I'm a tall guy. I'm pretty high energy.
You like your tucker.
I do like my food, and it's like it's unheard of for me to have an apple and a muffin, but that's what I have to sometimes to eat healthy. Like there's nothing else there. There's no options. But in Europe, the catering is like A+. It's like I can have something really nice, lots of veggies and stuff, and it just makes for a really nice show, like a nice experience for me.
So when was the last time you actually did live touring?
Oh, a long time ago now. So the last one was probably 4 or 5 years ago when I sort of stopped.
Yeah.
It was like the Berlin Festival, and it was this wicked show that was like in like a World War II like old like aircraft hangar.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we played in that place. There's lots of other really cool acts at that stage.
Is it the old airport? Because they've now got a different airport. I'm sure that's where they ended up putting all the refugees in there as well.
Yeah, I think you might be right. It's huge.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah. It was
I drove past it when I was over there.
It was like James Blake was playing, a whole bunch of other stuff. Really, really nice acts and stuff. And that was a good show. That was just as a 2-piece. And I think that was the same. Yeah, we did Primavera, that same festival run, I think. So Primavera in like Barcelona.
Okay.
Which was really, really interesting as well. Yeah.
And so you got back after that and you went, that's it, I'm not going again? Or did you?
The music industry shifted. So what happened at that stage was kind of like the tail end, I think, on like, for me, like just viable touring. So streaming really came into its thing. So I stopped around the same time streaming started happening. So like 2017, 2018 came along, and the whole kind of like parameters of the way music was consumed changed. And also the cost of touring started skyrocketing. So, I mean, that US tour / European tour I did, that was probably around the 100K mark for me back in like those times. Would be in this day and age, it would be shocking what it would cost. So yeah, so I think like the costs of touring changed, and streaming came in, which at that stage was sort of in its like infancy.
Yeah.
And I was like, I had to sort of like reset and start to sort of like build things again.
So tell us a bit about streaming. So I went on to Apple Music and went to Panama. And then I went to Spotify and went to Panama, and there's some different stuff on each of them. So tell us a little bit about how streaming works and how you get on there and how you decide what to put on there.
Yeah. So streaming's sort of like an interesting beast, the way that it's consumed. I like to think of it like a video store. Like it's like rentals. So it's interesting the way you go in, and like before, like, you know, you would like buy a vinyl and you're like, I own that piece of music and like that's mine. And these days streaming's more like rentals, right? It's like you pick up a videotape and you're like, I really like that movie, but if I want to like watch it again, I have to go and rent it again. So what happens is you get like, the way that it works in streaming is repeat people keep streaming your music. Every time they stream it, you get paid a royalty. Where like, you know, in the previous days, it was like, you know, you just get paid the royalty once, right? In a big chunk. So now it's like the way that it works is the money trickles in over time. Yeah. Like it just consistently comes in. Not always the same amount. Maybe it goes up in spikes or goes down or goes up again, but that's the way it works. So it's been really surprising the way that the royalties work, because, you know, for me, it's worked out quite well. Like as far as that, I've been able to sort of like live off that, and it's been fantastic.
So how do you decide who decides whether that music belongs on Spotify or Apple or something else, or do you put them everywhere?
Yeah. So my record label, they help with regards to where things are sort of like not maybe put on like Apple Music or Spotify, but like, you know, playlisting and things like that. And then obviously there's other ways of getting playlists as well. But as far as like you're talking about your catalog of songs on a different medium, like a different different streaming medium, I'm not too sure in regards to that. I don't keep too much of an eye on Apple Music, but I do know that they pay really high royalty rates. Oh, so I should probably keep more of an eye on it.
So if I'm going to listen to you, I should listen to you on Apple.
They pay a lot better than Spotify does as far as the royalty rate streams are concerned.
Okay.
As far as I know, Apple Music's more popular in the States as well, but Spotify's maybe more popular in just the whole universal terms of it. But yeah, for me, the majority of the streams are from Spotify. Apple Music to some extent, but not to the same sort of level.
Yeah, right. Interesting. Just one collaboration. You do a fair bit of collaboration. How do you decide who you're going to collaborate with? How do you decide whether they're a fit?
Yep.
Do you just sort of think, I know this guy, or do you collaborate with people you don't know? Just tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So yeah, collaboration is definitely something that's come about as streaming's come on board. I've never seen it the way that it's sort of evolved over time like it has now. It makes me really wonder, like, wow, streaming sort of brought that in. I just never thought that would be something that would have occurred from it. So anyway, so it's really easy with like social media to connect with people than I think any other time that I can think of in the music industry. Before you needed to like pick up the phone and like call that person. So you'd always be like, there'd be a middleman, like a record label or like management or whatever, you know, it's much harder, but like connection can be so fast and, you know, just like on Instagram, with a direct message, you can just reach out to that person. So a lot of the collaborations that come about for me just generally fans or people that like what I do, and they just sort of connect and say, hey, da 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 da, I've got this instrumental. Maybe you'd like to sort of work on something together. And, I might listen to a bunch of instrumentals and then just maybe go, I like da 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 and I like da da da. Maybe I can work on the instrumental with you, and then we get it to the right place, and, I can start building a song out of it as well.
So can I just play a little bit of your music? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's cool.
So tell us how you did this collaboration. How did this come about?
Ten Snake?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ten Snake, I was a big fan of, from the Coma Cat was a massive hit in Australia, probably in Europe, probably in the States as well.
Yeah.
So I just remember, I think my partner, she found it and was like, how good is this song? And I was like, wow, this is amazing. And then after that, I didn't really think of much of, Ten Snake was there, but it just wasn't on my mind. I was doing other things.
Is Ten Snake a person or a people?
So he's one person. He's a producer.
So it's really one snake.
He's a German. I think he's a German producer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's European. Anyway, so he reached out to me, just messaging again, just on Instagram, and was like, "Hey, I'm a big fan of your music," and then my mind just exploded. I didn't say anything, but I'm like, "What? He's a fan of my music?" I'm like, "I'm a fan of his music." He had this massive big hit, and I love the song, and I love this artist, and he was like. Anyway, so I wrote back, yeah, I'm into we can do a collaboration, I suppose. I suppose I got time for that. And that's kind of how the seeds of it started. And then as far as the creative process is concerned, he sent me a bunch of instrumentals.
Okay.
And then basically nothing really clicked for me. So I was I think he sent me something and it had just a drum beat. And so I just was like, I'll just write music on top of this drum beat. So yeah, you can hear the Rhodes. I just played Rhodes on top of the drum beat. You can actually hear it in there. That's
I can hear the drum beat. Yeah.
Oh, that's him on the beat. That's the keys.
Yeah.
Just listening to it. Yeah. Yeah, that's him on bass as well. Awesome. Yeah, he's a great bass player. So that's me on the keys. So yeah, basically just playing keys on top of it. Then he was like, I love this. I love where this is going. And then basically I just kept building it, and then I started doing the vocals, and like I said to you, I did the vocals that were basically just sounds.
Okay.
And I think the chorus was the first thing I came up with, and when I came up with the chorus, I was thinking of a soul group or something, a chorus of that classic soul sound, and that's kind of how the chorus came. But yeah, so going back, that's with Ten Snake. Yeah, we just built it together.
Yeah, right. Interesting.
And, yeah,
good song. I love this song.
Thanks, man. Yeah. I think it probably should have some higher numbers compared to some of my other ones, but it's one of those things. Sometimes people discover things later on, and it just explodes.
So yeah, what's your biggest song? 47 million downloads or bigger?
Well, streams, not downloads, but
streams.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's all right.
Streams,
We'll have to get up with the terminology. Okay. We're way out of date. Jesus.
That's fine. It's an attentive. It's not a. I mean, depends. It's setting a bar at whatever height. It's relative, right? Success.
Yeah.
It seems huge, and it is for me because it allows me to do what I want, when I want, and I can create when I want to create. And then there's other people that make. I mean, it gets to the stage when you make so much money that it's not even a factor. It's when you go, I just want to create art because I just love it, right? And the money factor comes, it just gets removed from the equation, and you just go, I just want to do what I'm passionate about, which is awesome.
Well, I was helping your stream numbers the other week in anticipation of us talking today. And what I like to do is not just listen to stuff through headphones. I like to have it out and actually hear it through speakers and so on. And so I'm playing that in the kitchen while I'm cooking breakfast. And my wife's still in the bedroom, not doing anything. And she comes out and we often have a conversation about, that's not morning music. So my wife comes out of the bedroom to where the kitchen where I am, and she says, "What is that you're listening to? It's not like the normal stuff you listen to. I quite like it."
That's a nice compliment.
Indeed. Yeah, so Bob Mould, you're not.
Yeah, because I was this is Heartburn, which is another great song too. I really
That's a new one. Yeah,
yeah.
just come out. Yeah.
And that's another collaboration.
Yeah. So, majority of the work I do, I don't generally do like just stuff on my own because, well, I'm a person.
Lazy.
Well, I also, it's one of those things like I get too into my own mind that I could spend. I did do it one stage. I spent like 12 months on one song.
Okay.
And I get lost because I'm like, there's so many possibilities with.
Are you going out
technology.
there every day, trying to work on this song, and it took you 12 months?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Bloody hell.
Yeah. It was a good song. You know, it was a good song, but it was driving me crazy. And that's because there's so many possibilities now with how when you record things, because you have technology and you can do whatever you want. That I'd have different days, I'd feel different ways, and I'd turn the song into that on that day, and the next day I probably would feel a different way. So
Turn it back.
So it's good having someone else to work with because you have someone to like get you down to the finish line or get across to the finish line, because I could just work on something for months. And sometimes I have to stop myself because I start going down that line of thinking where I'm like, this has to be right. And I just work until it sounds right. And that can take months. And some of those songs that are really high in streaming are songs that do take me months. But sometimes I just need to like go, I need to just do something like faster just to be like, just feel like I'm moving again.
Do you worry about overproduction?
Yeah, definitely overproduction is a thing. And primarily overthinking.
Yeah. Same father,
absolutely.
different family. Yeah.
That is my personality. It's unfortunately it's a curse, but it's also a blessing because when I'm in the right frame of mind and I'm using that way of thinking, I can make something of a high level, and it's one of the better things I do. But it does come at a cost, which is like, as far as functioning in day-to-day life, it can be a bit of I don't want to say a struggle, but like that thinking like that level in music is handy, but it can be a bit of a hole as well, like just in the creation process, because you can get lost in it. And then in life as well, where it's like, you want to think on like a more kind of lighter level, but you're like in that really deep place. So it's kind of pulling out of there and connecting with people again it's why it's so important.
So where do you see yourself heading over the next year or two, musically?
Well, my partner keeps saying like, when you're back on the road, like I think she's slowly like nudging me out of the door to maybe start.
When you're back on the
stuff.
road, you won't be getting back in.
yeah. I'm not quite sure. As far as that, I mean, it's obviously collaborations are still a thing that's going to continue to happen. But I think there's going to be some really like interesting collaborations coming. Like things seem to be moving. As far as right now with my career, quite nicely. Like it seems to be. I don't know. I'm quite excited to see what's going to happen in 6 to 12 months. Just with the producers that I'm seem to be working with. There's some really good ones coming up that I'm really excited about. I always say this, but it does feel like it's another whole level again of quality.
Who's your audience, just out of interest?
Yeah. So like you can do that on Spotify. You can do like metrics and stuff and see. It seems to be like, primarily people, not so much around 18, but more like late 20s and 30s, also 40s.
Okay.
Some 50s and 60s in there too, which is awesome. So there's a wide spread, but generally like the bulk of it comes around the late 20s to like all the way through the 30s. So, but yeah, it's a bit of a spread, which is cool. Interesting.
And people, do you see yourself as writing music that's people listen to in the background, or back in my day, I used to sit down and listen to an album. Where do you place your music?
I just like to place it as like, just generally like for me, I see a song as a puzzle. So like a puzzle that's just a beautiful puzzle. Like it just sounds right.
It's a bit Trumpy. It's a beautiful puzzle.
It's a beautiful. Oh, it's terrible. It's so insulting. What I mean is like, I spend like my time in the studio sort of building the song and just creating something that sounds like just, I don't know, just it feels right.
Yeah.
And so I like to think that my audience that connect with my music feels similar things to the way that I do. So it's, because what I understand with art is that you can't really create something that's true to yourself if it's just trying to cater for someone else. So the best thing you can do is create something that means something to you. And then once that's done, you're sort of, that's it. And if it's well received, that's fantastic. So it's weird. Like it's a really weird thing, right? It's like you do it, you create it, and then it's really up to the world and the way they receive it. It's crazy, but it's like I'm living in a dream because people are receiving it well.
Yeah.
And you know, its success is happening. So it's like, it's hard to describe. It feels like you're living in a dream.
Mate, thank you very much for that. And thanks for finishing up on those really interesting words. It's been great having you here and really appreciate it. And ladies and gentlemen, that'll do us and we'll see you next time. Well, that's a wrap, and thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, it's free. And if you like this, tell your friends about us. Also, contact us at mickandthefatman@gmail.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Thanks very much. See you next time.